Pepper Young's Family. Pepper Young's Family is the true-to-life story of your friends, the Youngs. We'll be with them in just a moment after this message. Carter Trent has just arrived home, and he's eager to get to the real purpose of his visit. He wants to convince his parents that Peggy Young is the only girl in the world for him, and that he intends to marry her, even if it means giving up the Trent fortune. He's in his mother's room right now, and has tried to bring up the subject several times. But so far, Mrs. Trent has skillfully evaded the issue of his engagement and kept the conversation in a light vein. Carter suddenly makes up his mind he won't be put off any longer.
Look, Mother, I want to talk to you about Peggy Young.
Oh, yes, the girl who has announced her engagement to you.
She hasn't announced her engagement to me any more than I've announced my engagement to her. I want you to know that nothing you can say while I'm here, or that nothing Dad can say, is going to change me in the least. I'm going to listen to both of you, but it isn't going to make any difference. So you might as well save your breath if you think you're going to influence me against Peggy.
My dear, neither your father nor I have any such ideas. We merely want to talk the whole thing over with you. You've never really been in love before, have you, Carter?
Never. Not only really, but never been halfway before, because there never was anyone like Peggy in my life before.
Oh, I want so much to hear you talk about her. I've waited for the time when you'd come home and tell me something like this. I think it's high time you fell in love.
I'm glad you think so, Mother. I didn't expect you to take it this way.
Oh, my dear, it's perfectly natural for a boy your age to meet a pretty girl and be crazy about her. Why shouldn't you be? Well, you'd be abnormal if you weren't.
But Dad doesn't look at it that way.
Of course he does, dear. We both feel that way. We're both delighted that you've enjoyed your stay in Elmwood.
Enjoyed my stay in Elmwood?
Yes, delighted that it was made so pleasant. I suppose every boy at an army post can't fall in love, as you call it. I suppose some of them don't just meet a girl they're attracted to.
Mother, you talk as if this was some sort of a diversion. Something to pass the time of day or night.
Well, isn't it, Carter?
Mother, you know perfectly well that I want to marry Peggy Young.
Yes, dear, yes, I know you do. I know you think you do at the moment. That's what your father and I want to talk to you about. That's what we want to have you weigh seriously.
Mother, I've never been the kind who took things lightly, even when I should have.
Well, I did think we could have a good time now that you're home. I did think we could talk about this matter and then talk about a lot of other things.
Well, there isn't anything else to talk about, Mother. That's all I'm here for. To tell you and Father what I want to do, what I intend to do.
We'll be back with the Youngs in a moment after this message.
Carter, your father will be delighted to know you're home and to see you looking so well. I've never seen you looking better.
I am well. I'm fine. One reason is because I'm happy for the first time in my life.
Oh, dear, how utterly ridiculous. You've been happy all your life. Well, you've had a perfectly marvelous life, and you know it.
Well, maybe I have had in a way, but I've never been free before.
Well, I suppose none of us are ever really free, are we? I mean, we have so many things that we're responsible for, so many people who depend on us, so many responsibilities that, well, one can never really be quite free.
I mean free in the sense of being on my own, of having to make my own decisions. You have no idea how many years and years people have been making decisions for me. My tutors, my proctors, everybody decided things for me. Everybody except...
Except who?
Nothing.
I know what you were going to say, Carter. Everybody except your father and me. Well, we didn't spend very much time deciding things for you, did we?
Well, I was going to say that. As a matter of fact, but I don't think that's quite fair. Why should you? You paid plenty of people to look after me. Why should you be expected to do it, too?
Because I think we should have, Carter. You're quite right. I think you might easily feel that you were neglected.
No, I don't feel neglected. I just feel that this is a different kind of home than the sort of home that Peggy comes from.
Yes, I'm sure it is.
You've no idea what nice people the Youngs are. Oh, I know Dad got into a row with Mr. Young, but I'll bet you 10 to 1 it was Dad's fault. Mr. Young's a fine man.
Well, that was a rather unfortunate meeting, the whole thing.
I know it. But honestly, Mother, they're the best family. And they're looked up to in the community they live in and respected. And, well, they're just the greatest, that's all.
Well, we're looked up to, too, in our community. There's no difference there that I can see.
But you don't understand. These people haven't any money. They have to think about making ends meet. They're actually up against it. It gives you faith in human nature when you see people like that who have to work so hard to keep going, who mean so much to each other and have such strong family feeling, and how they all pull together.
Yes, I think that's the great tragedy of having the responsibilities your father has, that I have. We grow apart, I suppose. We don't pull together quite in that sense, Carter. But on the other hand, there is a deep, warm feeling that I don't think you appreciate. I don't think you know how your father feels about you.
No, I don't know how my dad feels about me because he's never taken the trouble to tell me. In fact, I've seen very little of him as I grew up. I don't say it's his fault. I just say that's how it is.
Your father's deeply devoted to you, Carter. He adores you just as I do. And he's proud of you, and he's proud of your record at school and at college. He's proud of your joining the Army as a private when you could easily have gone to an officer's training camp and been an officer. He's proud of all that. And he talks about it and boasts about it. And
he's not proud of my finding the finest girl in the world who's willing to marry me. He's not proud of my introducing somebody to all of you who's out of your circle. That's something he's not proud of. Isn't that right, Mother?
Oh, Carter, dear, it's not an easy thing to accept, you know.
No, I suppose not. Not when he and I don't speak the same language. We never have and never will. He's one kind of man, I guess, and I'm another. I guess I'm more like the Youngs. I like the simple life. I don't like anything about the life we've been leading. Not now. Not now that I've once gotten away from it and had a chance to look around and see how the other half lives.
Carter, when you talk to your father, just remember, whatever he says, he's deeply devoted to you. Your interest is the first thing in his mind, the one thing he has at heart. It isn't what he feels or what he thinks or what I feel or what I think. It's what we think is going to make you happier and what's going to be the best for you.
Then I'm telling you, Mother, that I know what's best for me. I know there's only one thing that's best for me, and that is to marry the girl I love. That's all that matters to me.
Well, I tell you what I suggest. You run along to your room, dear, and spruce up for dinner. And by that time, your father will be through with whatever he's doing, and we'll have a chance to talk to you, and we can all go into dinner together. And Carter, remember, he's not getting any younger. It doesn't do him any good to get so excited as he did the other day when Mr. Young was here. And, oh, dear, try to be patient with him.
All right, Mother. Only he's not going to change me any, remember. And neither are you. This is the girl I love, and this is the girl I'm going to marry.
Yes, dear, yes, I know. But even if your father doesn't speak the same language you do, remember he's trying to. We're both trying to. We may be a little late in getting around to it, but we do have your interest very close to our hearts.
Okay, Mother, I'll run along now and clean up. Oh, hey, wait a minute, Mother. How would you like to see a picture of Peggy?
Oh. Oh, a picture of her. Well, yes, of course, I'd like to very much.
Okay, here's one. I carry it around in my wallet.
Oh.
It's a good picture of her. This is the way she really looks.
Well, fine. She is a pretty thing, isn't she?
Yeah, she's beautiful. She's the most beautiful girl in the world. And the dearest. And the best. And the sweetest. And the most adorable. And, well, you'd better not get me started on her.
Carter, dear, will you leave the picture here for a little while? I'd like to show it to your father.
Sure. You show it to him. He might not admit that he wanted to see it if I showed it to him.
All right, dear, I'll show it to him. Now, you go along to your room now. Oh, Carter. Carter. It's so good to have you back. It's so good to see you. I'm very fond of you, darling. I really am. And I'm very proud of you, too.
Did you ring, Mrs. Trent?
Yes, Williams, I rang. Will you tell Mr. Trent that I'd like to see him if he can come in here now? That is, if he's dressed for dinner.
Yes, Mrs. Trent. Mr. Carter looks fine, doesn't he? I've never seen him look so well.
Yes, he does look fine, doesn't he? Oh, Williams, I think there's nothing we can do. I think he's completely crazy about this girl. I wonder if there's any way that we can stop his marrying her.
I don't know, Mrs. Trent. But if there is any way, I'll guarantee you'll be the one that thinks of it.
After Williams left the room, Mrs. Trent picked up the picture of Peggy from her dressing table and studied the sweet young face. So this is the girl Carter loves. A beautiful, lovely girl. But Mrs. Trent feels sure that she's not the right girl for her son to marry. And something must be done about it. And now a message from our sponsor. While Peggy Young wonders what the Trents think of her, Mrs. Trent plans a new strategy to try on her son, Carter. Be sure to join us next time for Pepper Young's Family. John Scott speaking.